Good morning, students. In the previous class, we have studied about transportation in human being. How does it occur? It occurs by double circulation. And in today's class, we are going to study about transportation in plants. How the plants fulfill their different requirement. So when we talk about plant, as you all know, plants prepare their own food using simple inorganic compounds like what? Carbon dioxide, water, and some other raw materials, and photosynthesizes their energy in the presence of sunlight, and which they store in the chlorophyll or the leaves. So the plants require raw materials which they obtain from the soil are nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, other mineral ions which are essential for the growth and development of the plant body. As all these raw materials are absorbed from soil with the help of roots which are in contact with the soil. So if we talk about the plant that are small in height or length, it requires less energy for the transportation of these requirement. Why? Because the raw material can be easily diffused into all parts of the plant body, as the distance between soil, root and chlorophyll is small. Even you can conduct an experiment which we will deal later on when I'll explain you ascent of sap. So coming to the other group of the plant which are larger in length, that is what? The tall plants, the distance between the soil, root and chlorophyll is large. So it requires much energy for its transportation. Why? Because the raw materials cannot be easily diffused to this large distance, and so the plants require a proper transportation system. You all also know, as the plants do not move, do not move from one place to another, and even the large number of the cells that are present in the plants are dead cells. So the plants have low energy and needs a slow transport system. And in order to survive, the plant needs water, mineral, soils and raw materials like what? CO2. So these are the requirement of the plants which are being fulfilled by the different transport system. The water and the mineral salts are absorbed from the soil and is transported to the plant through the roots. These mineral ions get easily dissolved in the water and is absorbed through the roots. So when we talk about transportation in plants, the transportation in plant involves a special tissues which are called as vascular tissue. In your class 9th, you have studied that there are two types of vascular tissue. One is xylem and the other is phloem. So when we talk about xylem, it is associated with transportation of water and mineral ion. The transport in xylem do not require energy. The transport in xylem is unidirectional, that is, it occurs only in upward direction, that is from root to leaves of a plant. Next, the component of the xylem are xylem vessel, xylem tracheids, xylem fiber and xylem parenchyma. Whereas when we talk about the other vascular tissue, that is what? The phloem, it is involved in the translocation of food. The translocation of food requires energy. The translocation of food in phloem occurs in bidirection, that is what? Both in upward and downward direction. Whereas when we talk about component of phloem, it involves sieve tube, companion cell, phloem fiber and phloem parenchyma. So now coming to transport of water and minerals in plant. As you know, it occurs through xylem. So the transport of water and mineral can be explained by a theory which is called as ascent of sap. Mostly when we talk about transportation of water and mineral, the xylem vessel and tracheid cells are involved. These cells are thick walled cells And when we talk about tracheids, they are single celled, which are shorter in length, whereas when we talk about xylem, they are several celled and longer as compared to tracheids. The xylem vessel and the tracheids of root, stem and leaves all are interconnected. So to facilitate a continuous transport system, so that they are all connected with each other, so that the continuous conduction of water can occur in all the parts of the plant. So coming to the ascent of sap, the ascent of sap means what? It is the system, we call it as ascent, means from छोटे से बड़ा, ascending order you all have studied. So when we talk about ascent, मतलब ऊपर चढ़ना, and sap means what? Liquid. So the water is being transported from soil to leaf, and so this theory is named as ascent of sap. The ascent of sap involve different forces. Like what? It involves major two forces, that is what? The root pressure and transpirational pull. It involves root pressure and transpirational pull. Apart from that, it also involved the properties of a water, like what? Cohesion and adhesion property of a water, and it also involves diffusion. As we know that the xylem cells of the roots are in contact with the soil, here you can see the roots are in contact with the soil. So the water gets diffused from the soil, in which the minerals are dissolved into the root cell. Why? Because there occurs the concentration difference. The concentration of mineral and water is higher in the soil as compared to the root. So there occurs a difference between both, and so the water molecule along with the mineral get diffused from soil to the root cell. Then what happened? As these are present as a continuous column from one cell to another, it is diffused, and in a very short period the whole root gets filled with the water. When the whole root gets filled with the water, it exerts a pressure which is called as what? The root pressure. Due to this root pressure which is created, and as the xylem of root and stem are connected with each other, the water from the xylem of root rises up to this in the stem up to a certain level. This can be experimentally proved also. If you are going to take a coriander and you just dip that coriander along with the roots overnight in a glass that is filled with the water. For more easy observation, you can just mix some dye or a color in that water, and if you in the morning, if you are going to cut the coriander stem just above this root, you can see that the water oozes out, which shows that root pressure is responsible for rising the water up to a certain height in the stem. And this is why the root pressure that are generated in the small plant is sufficient to transport water up to the leaf, and the small plant do not have any particular transport system. But these root pressure alone cannot rise the water in the tall trees up to the leaf, and so they have a proper transport system. So this is what about the root pressure, how the root pressure is created. And now when the root pressure is created, the water rises up to a certain height in the stem, from where the water is pulled up to the leaves of a plant due to another factor that is called as transpirational pull. All of you know what is transpiration. The loss of water from the aerial part of the plant is called as what? Transpiration. As transpiration occurs during daytime, the water is lost from the leaf, and for the process of photosynthesis, they require what? Water molecule. due to which due to the process of transpiration, this loss of water creates a suction pressure, due to which the water rises in the xylem from stem up to the leaf. And this is how only the water is transported in plants. The major forces involved in transport of water and mineral is what? The root pressure and the transpirational pull. So during daytime, as the process of transpiration occur, which creates suction, due to which the root pressure pulls water upward through root xylem to stem xylem, and due to the property of cohesion and addition of water molecule. This process of transpiration also helps in temperature regulation of plant also. So during daytime, transpirational pull act as a major force for transport of water in plant, but when we talk about night, that is during night, the root pressure occurs due to difference in concentration of active ion between root and soil, which help in conduction of water. Why? Because when we talk about night, the process of photosynthesis do not occur, stomatas are closed, so transpiration also do not occur. So during night time, it is what the major driven force is the root pressure only, and this is how only the water and mineral is transported in plants. I hope you all have understood the concept. If any doubt, you can ask me. Thank you all.